know if any of you have seen my last video, but I was kind of getting stuck in the comparison trap, really. I was comparing my content to people that, you know, use drones, have videographers, and people that have been doing it for years, and your comments were like really sweet. I kind of came to the realization that I need to kind of serve the audience that I've got and stop worrying about growing my channel so much and trying to be, you know, this YouTube celebrity, accepting that my journey and my path is different to other people, and I'm not going to be one of these people that blow up really quickly. I know I put out a video like a month ago saying when you stop looking for love, and yeah, I kind of thought, should I tell people about this, because I was like, well, I only put that video out a month ago. But basically I've started online dating, and I'll probably talk about that more next week, because yeah, there are some interesting messages coming through. But I thought it'd be good to talk about this topic because I think it's something that a lot of people relate to. And the topic is when they don't want a relationship with you. I've talked in the past in my other videos how if a guy doesn't want a relationship, don't force it, because you're literally on a road to nowhere and it's a waste of time. So that still stands. But I thought I'd also talk about this concept of when a guy doesn't want a relationship with you, but then he goes on to have a relationship with another girl. And this in some aspects is even worse, because you're definitely left thinking, well, what does she have that I don't have? And I think a lot of people relate to this. And why I thought I'd talk about this topic was when I set my online dating profile up, you do your pictures and you do your bio, and then you search for people, and within like 0.5 seconds I found someone that I previously dated. And I use dated in loose terms because we never actually got to an official relationship, but it really fucked me up basically, because on his profile he had looking for a relationship, and I know full well that is a lie. This guy doesn't want a relationship, and he's doing what he did to me basically to other girls. And he kind of lures you in with the promise of a relationship basically when he doesn't want a relationship at all. This guy basically, he goes around pretending he's the Leonardo DiCaprio of Croydon, and just, he's not even a player. He doesn't have any game. He literally manipulates women and manipulates people. It was a very toxic dynamic that I can pick up on now as I've got older, but it does kind of piss me off because he's still online and he's still saying he wants a relationship. And I'll never know if he just didn't want a relationship with me or he didn't want a relationship at all, because I can distinctly remember the things that he would do to me to gaslight me. We would basically arrange a date and then he'd pull out. He'd kind of give me all this like love bombing stuff, and he was just in general just an absolute toxic person. It's been years since I've done online dating, maybe, I don't know, like maybe 5 years, and I thought I'd give it a go because I thought, well, I've given the dating apps a go, not really getting much luck on it, let's just try online dating, see if it's any different. And yeah, this guy was still there. And things kind of came to a head when he would literally only text me at the weekend. And this is why I tell you girls now that if you're dating someone and they're very sporadic with their communication and they don't text you daily, it is a red flag. Because this guy would only want to see me at the weekends. He would literally go all week without contacting me. And then at the weekend, he would start texting me. And he wouldn't even text me, say, early evening on a Friday, Saturday, saying, do you want to go out? He would literally text me at 12 or 1 in the morning for obvious things. And basically this toxic dynamic came to a head when I remember one evening he literally screamed at me, and this, bearing in mind I'm like 5'2", and this guy was about 6 foot, 6'1", and this guy literally screamed at me, I don't want a relationship with you. And that's when I knew it's over. There's no going back from that. For some reason, this guy, he basically had no emotional intelligence. I don't know what went on in his past, but he couldn't express himself emotionally. And I think it must have all just built up. And he just, literally, just at that moment, just it all came out. And he said, I don't want a relationship with you. And that's when I knew, I was, right, it's over. And then, sorry, I don't know if this is a really boring story. And then I found out, I don't know, like a few months later, he'd met someone else and he was in a relationship with them. And I now realise that I dodged an absolute bullet. But at the time, I was just absolutely devastated because I was left feeling, what has this girl got that I do not have? What do I lack as a person that means he doesn't want a relationship with me? He was always saying stuff like, it's not you, it's me. There's nothing wrong with you, it's me. I don't want a relationship. I don't want a relationship. And that's fine if you don't want a relationship. But don't put on your online dating profile that you want a relationship. This is what winds me up about the guy, is because lying to other women is one thing. But ultimately, when you lie to yourself, it's even worse. As I say, I've taken a 5-year break from online dating. As soon as I go to log in again, he's on there wanting a relationship. And I just feel sad for him because he's about, I don't know, how old is he? About 5 years older than me. And he's still single. He's still online dating. He's still looking for something that obviously doesn't exist. He still has unresolved issues, and it's tough because the fact that this man, I call him man, he's a cunt really. No, you can't say that on YouTube. This man's just an idiot really, because he would like breadcrumb me, gaslight me, literally all the dating terms that you have heard. This guy would do to me. He would not speak to me for 3 months. He would pop back, make all these promises. And he basically just used me as a emotional support system whenever he was feeling down. I remember once when he lost his job, he would reach out to me. And of course, because I'm a nice person, I would sit and listen to him talk about how he'd lost his job. He would gaslight me and say that his mum was sick and all of this stuff, just to get sympathy. It's only now that I see what a toxic person he was. The weird thing is that often the guy that girls are really fixated on, it's usually not even the guy that is the most attractive. This guy isn't really that attractive, but because I put so much effort into getting to know him, I almost felt like it had to work because I put in so much effort. And bearing in mind, I come from a background, like I've said before, I studied English, and when you read a lot of novels, there's always an obstacle for the couple to overcome. There's always that kind of problem or something almost toxic that happens. And you never really get a love story where it's just easy and simple. In novels and films, there's always problems and obstacles that couples have to overcome before they eventually fall in love. And in my brain, I kind of thought, well, we've been through so much, it's bound to work. In my head, I was like, this is how love's supposed to be. All these kind of obstacles, all this drama, this is what love is. And that's kind of what I convinced myself. I convinced myself that love had to have a lot of highs, a lot of drama, a lot of passion. That's kind of what I thought that love was. But it's only now that I realised that I misplaced that. And it was just a really unhealthy and toxic dynamic. And as I say, this man, he told me he was with someone all the while he was still on the dating app. Even when I was on Tinder, I would see this man. He just literally couldn't help himself. He was always kind of one foot in, one foot out. and I can't kind of obviously speculate about what he's doing now. I don't know. I have grown as a person now, and if he did reach out to me, I would not reciprocate because it's been so long. It's been like 5 or 6 years. But this guy basically absolutely destroyed my self-confidence. I'm not even going to cry in this video because he's not even worth it. Yeah, basically since that scenario happened, it literally destroyed me. And I put on 3 stone in weight, and literally, I don't want to say he fucked up my life because that is like really dramatic, and ultimately you can only respond to situations from how you feel as yourself, and you can't let what people do to you affect you. That's why I don't want to blame him, but it's definitely those feelings of not feeling good enough definitely contributed to me putting on weight, not feeling good about myself, because he didn't want me as a girlfriend, and like I said, screamed at me, I don't want a relationship with you. Who even says that to anyone? Even if you're a normal, sane person, you do not scream at a woman like that. It's just disgusting, toxic behaviour. And that's half the reason I started the channel, really. It was just to try and, as I say, like work on my self-confidence and try and give people advice against people that are like this, because I've been there and done that and seen it. I do laugh, bless them, when I see 20-year-olds giving dating advice, because I think of myself at 20, and I even think of myself at 16 thinking I knew everything, and unless you go through that toxic dynamic, you almost have to go through it to spot those signs in other people. And I generally believe that everything happens for a reason, and you build as you go along. And even though I've had relationships that haven't worked out or dated people, it ultimately gives you it ultimately gives you kind of experiences to go forward, and then when you do meet someone, you can kind of draw back on those experiences and be like, are they acting like this person? Or I don't like this behaviour that this person's doing. And you can draw it back to people in your past and think, oh, well, they exhibited that behaviour and look how that turned out. And yeah, ultimately, I don't want this person to define me. And yeah, as I say, putting on 3 stone in weight, I can't blame it solely on this person because I'm the one that's ate all the food. But it's the feelings that he made me feel contributed to a lack of self-esteem that ultimately made me feel that I wasn't good enough. And I think I probably used food to bury those feelings. But yeah, this has gone off on a really long tangent. This isn't the podcast I intended it to be. This was supposed to be a podcast of what to do when someone doesn't want a relationship with you. But I don't know, maybe me opening up, it will help some people. Just to realise that if someone doesn't want a relationship with you, it ultimately does you a favour, because it stops you wasting time with someone that doesn't want to be with you. And that's why I just hate these girls that are just caught up in situationships. Because I've been there and I've done that, and it's absolutely soul destroying. And that's why I stopped doing it. And the downside of it is, yeah, you don't have sex basically, but it protects you from being used by men. Sometimes you just have to be the bigger person and accept that sometimes you will date someone and they don't want a relationship with you. In the same way, you might date someone and then you might not want a relationship with them. It's easy for me to say, but I think you have to not internalise that. Sometimes you just don't gel with people, and sometimes they don't get that feeling that they want to be in a relationship with you. I do believe that whoever is meant to turn up will turn up at the right time, and in the meantime, I'm just gonna create my videos and try and dispense some wisdom It might not be every week, but it'll just be when I get some inspiration and an idea pops into my head. And I'm still going to make videos for you. So yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a nice week and see you soon.